Coming to know the love of God more deeply changes everything in our lives. We can hear His voice telling us who we are, what we're made for, who we are to Him. We need strength for this journey that we're on. Life is moving at such a fast pace. We're so busy, and in the midst of that, we can lose heart. And friends, that's a dangerous thing to do because your life matters. Your heart matters. Your heart matters to God. And you can get it back. What does it mean to be a woman? Is femininity something that is just socially constructed? Welcome. I'm Stasi Eldredge, and I am so glad that you are with us. In this 6-part series, we're going to be going on a treasure hunt. It's a treasure hunt for the true heart of God and for that deep, beautiful, feminine heart that He placed in you. What did God mean when He said in Genesis 1:26 and 27, "Let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them rule over the fish of the sea and the birds of the air, over the livestock, over all the earth, and over all the creatures that move along the ground." So God created man in His own image. In the image of God, He created him. Male and female, He created them. The very first thing we learn about human beings is that they are made in the image of God. And the second thing we learn about them is that they are made as either male or female. This is going to help a lot of women make sense of their lives, because if we know who we are, if we know how we're designed, it helps us make sense of our stories and plan for our future. And this can be a hard time to be a woman, which is a major understatement. We live in an hour that is deeply confused about what it means to be male or female. Well, God cares so much about that, cares so deeply about the image that He has placed in us, about gender, about your feminine heart. Jesus shares this worldview, by the way, because He says in Matthew 19:4, "Haven't you read? In the beginning, He created them male and female." The fact that you have a feminine heart is actually the most important thing for you to know about yourself. Let's add to Genesis 1 another passage, this one from Proverbs 4:23. It says, "Above all else, guard your heart, for from it flows the wellspring of life within you." Above all else? Why? Well, because God knows that our heart is the very core of our being. It is the source of our creativity, our courage, and our conviction. It is the fountainhead of our faith, our hope, and of course, our love. This wellspring of life within us, it is the very center of our being and the very place that we bear the image of God. It is the most important thing about you. And your feminine heart has been created with the greatest of all possible dignities as a reflection of God's own heart. You are a woman to the very core of your being. And that is what Jesus has come to restore. Out of your feminine heart flow all the things that make life worth living. Friendship, love, meaningful work, adventure, your dreams, your relationship with God, all the things that make for a meaningful life flow out of your feminine heart. So what is the heart? Well, a good way to answer that question is simply by asking another one. What do I want? What does my heart want? No matter your age and no matter where you're from, you will find that at the very core of her being, women long for three basic things. They express themselves differently through our lives because we are made uniquely. But at the core of our being are desires that we all share. If you look at the games that little girls play, at the movies we love, at the stories that capture our hearts, you will find that every woman longs to be romanced, to be irreplaceable, and to unveil beauty. Do you know what the #1 selling book is? It's romance novels. And I'm not talking quality literature here. This isn't Jane Austen. These are the books where the woman is standing on the cliff and her hair is blowing behind her. Who can be buying them? Women. Women are buying them by the truckloads. Their authors have tuned into something very core to a woman's heart, the desire to be wooed and won, the desire to be pursued and fought for, the desire to be romanced. The desire to be romanced is at the very core of every woman's heart. And oh, we downplay it. We try to dismiss it. We try to kill it. We're ashamed of it, but we don't need to be, because it is here that we bear the very image of the living God. God loves romance. Moonlight on water, falling stars, poetry, flowers, music, chocolate, all his idea.
Hey, hello! Hey guys. How you doing?
Oh, it was so beautiful.
I know, but
it was so different. You never know until you know.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Hang it in there.
So glad.
When I'm outside, I do feel my soul awaken. And it's funny, it surprises me every time. It's where my soul starts to sing and feel free.
I love the ocean. It makes me come alive. Smelling the salt water, there's so much space. It just makes me feel free.
Creating something, like just working with my hands, creating something beautiful, redecorating a room, or having paint on my fingers.
For me, I notice learning makes me come alive, and like discovering something new and then following it out and tracking down the next book and then the next book and kind of like going and then observing how they're in conversation with each other.
Sunrises, sunsets, the sun just speaks to me. Like I love how he paints the sky, and I just love to be out and see God's beauty.
Everything that has ever taken your breath away, it takes his too. They are love notes written to you by the ageless romancer to woo and win your heart to himself. God loves romance. He wants to be wanted. He waits to be wanted. He says, "You will find me when you seek me with all of your heart." He wants to be wanted, and so do we. But we also want to be needed, to be essential, to be irreplaceable.
As I watch Ella approach her teenage years, to be present for her now is making such a difference in her life. She is going into her teenage years with a just sense of belonging and assurance and freedom that I didn't have because my mom wasn't present to me. I'm showing up and it matters to her, and it's going to matter to her later, and it's going to matter to her children.
One day I was on a hike and I saw a guy had ridden his bike off the edge of the trail and rolled down, and his leg was broken. So I had to go back down the trail and wait for the rescue crew and guide them back up to where the man was, and just helping someone in dire need. And I love that God brought me on the trail at that moment.
I used to watch World War II movies. I loved it, the big screen, the black and white movies. And I dreamed that when I grew up, maybe I was 12, I could take my braids and tuck them in underneath my helmet and join in. It wasn't so much that I wanted to be a part of a war. It was that I wanted to be a part of something heroic and noble. Didn't you? Oh, there is something valiant and fierce set in the heart of every woman. And if you doubt it, insult her best friend. But if she has children and you want to take your life in your hands, then insult her child. There is a strength in you, given to you by God on behalf of others. And something in the heart of a woman wilts like flowers without water if we believe ourselves to be unnecessary, unneeded, easily replaced. She's made to be essential. She wants to play her irreplaceable role in a heroic adventure that is shared. It is for such that we were made. And it is here that we bear the very image of God.
My son, every Friday at his school, they have like a performance. And so I know it's important for him to see me in the crowd. I know that he's looking for me. And when we find eye to eye, I go like this, and he kind of like doesn't want to show it because he's on stage, but I know he gets it, and he just smiles at me. I just love that feeling that he needs me there and I can be there for him.
Women want to have a beauty all their own to offer. Look at the games that little girls play. Many little girls will spend hours playing dress up. Grandma's old nightie is a ball gown. Dime store beads are priceless jewels, and mom's old shoes are glass slippers. And many little girls will spend hours dressing up and then coming out saying, "Do you see me?" There also is a time when a lot of little girls will not wear it unless it twirls. And if it sparkles, so much the better.
Where I find joy in making something beautiful is when I have people over for a meal. I love like to set the table, and it's not that I have like finery or anything, but I just love like that, the moment when it's like everything is either being cooked or it's right before they arrive, and I have the table set, and then when it tastes good on top of it,
Yes.
there's so much joy in that.
For my wedding day, I was 23 years old, and I love my dress, I like the makeup, but I don't remember feeling that beautiful because my mom didn't show up. I remember trying to like glance to see if she would be in the front row. She never made it. On my 40th birthday, I just wanted to feel beautiful, and a very close friend of mine that I love, she came in and she mothered me. She took me to Nordstrom's, and on my birthday, I felt so beautiful. I felt so seen.
I struggled with a lot of self-contempt and a lot of rigidity in my body, and I felt like the essence of beauty is like fluid and spontaneous, and instead I felt like the antithesis of fluid and spontaneous. And so I felt like beauty was just like the thing that was at the heart of beauty was the very thing that I was disqualified from because of my rigidity and my inner violence and antagonism toward myself. And I remember actually at a wedding, and I had a dress that I loved, and I felt free, and I felt alive, and I felt present, and I felt winsome, and I felt like the opposite of rigid and antagonistic. My dear friends looked at me and said, "You look and are so beautiful." And I could actually receive it and believe it. And it was like when I was 37 or 38, it was a long time coming.
Every little girl is born with a question. And it goes something like, "Do you see me? Do you delight in me? Am I captivating?" And whether she is wearing a sparkly, twirly skirt or she is covered in mud, whether she's asking with words or only with her eyes, every little girl is asking, "Do you see me? Am I lovely?" It is an ageless longing. God has set eternity in our hearts. The longing to be beautiful is there as well. Your heart matters. And too many women are losing heart. Too many women have lost heart already, and we have to get that back. You have to get your heart back. So let's go on this treasure hunt together.